to let things happen naturally. Now, by that I mean instinctively, but just flows out. So if I use the analogy of driving, when you first learn to drive, you probably remember you have to learn so many things in one go. You have to multitask, didn't you? You have to learn to control the clutch if it's a manual car. You have to control the steering, the signal. You have to look in the mirrors before you move off. All these things, become individual tasks that you have to do. But after a while, when you got used to driving, if you pass your driving test, these things come naturally to you now, don't they? You don't think about, I'm coming up to the traffic lights, I need to brake. I come to a stop, I got to go into first gear before I pull off. All this stuff, all this comes naturally. You just do it. It's just instinctive. So in martial arts, it's the same. The stuff that you learn, the knowledge, you got to be able to apply instinctively without having to think about it. If you have to think about it, it's too late. In a real fight, it's too late. The guy's not going to wait for you to think about what you're going to do. He throws a punch at you, you only got a split second to react. If you don't react, you get hit. It's as simple as that. There's no mystery about it. That's a physical reality. And Wuchia has grown out of generations of real fighting, as opposed to styles that have a lot of theory but never tested them. Well, that's like having buying a car without test driving it, and you're going to spend £80,000 on it. Doesn't make any sense, does it? You want to test drive it and make sure it works first. So acquiring knowledge is one thing. Using knowledge is a totally different thing, and you've got to bridge that gap. Right? You've got to bridge that gap. So, for example, you can watch a video about how to swim, and you can learn how to swim by watching a video, read a book, etc. But nothing beats getting into the water and actually swimming. And you'll find that the first time you do that, you probably, have a few gulps of water that you shouldn't have had. So there you go. You got to get into the water. You got to get wet. So if you want to learn to fight, you got to get into a fight. There's no substitute for that. There's no substitute. Absolutely none. I've not seen one. No substitute. So you got to practice, and because if you can't apply it in real life, it's no good to you. Full stop. It doesn't mean what you've learned is no good. It's just that you didn't know how to use it. All right. So and that is a lesson that you must learn. Very useful in life, because not just the martial arts, but in your everyday life, you learn lots of things. You went to school. You learn lots of subjects. You learn about computers, this, that, and the other, software engineering, whatever your topic is. But can you use it? How much of it do you actually use after you left school? The stuff that you learned from school? Very little, isn't it? Strange, isn't it? But that's the world we live in. That's why I call that's academic, isn't it? It's knowledge. But it's no use to you, or you don't know, you have no use for it, or you don't know how to use it. And that is something that a lot of people face. It's very common. A lot of people have a lot of knowledge, but they don't know how to use it. And then they go off doing something really silly when you think, well, why not? So actually that brings me to this point about using your intellect, your brain. You have a brain, use it. Don't let it go to waste. Use it. Use it wisely. Discipline it through meditation and all the other mental exercises you can do. Focus and use it wisely. Use the analytical ability of your brain as well, which is so important. And a lot of people don't use that. They use about 50% of their capacity, their actual capacity. So 50% of your brain power is wasted. I remember my school days when I first went into secondary school, and the first day of school, the teacher came in. So we have a system where you have a main teacher for that year. So he's the one in charge of the class, he or she, and different subjects taught by different teachers. But he's the main teacher. He's the one that looks after your progress. And he said to us, on that day, at that time we were all boys in the class. Wasn't a mixed, wasn't co-education until sixth form. So he said, boys, what are we going to do this year? What are we going to do this year? And we all looked at each other and said, what does he mean? What does he mean? What are we going to do? We all put our heads up and said, oh yeah, we're going to work hard this year. Work hard, sir. We're going to work hard. And he said, that's right, but not quite right. Well, I want a better answer than that, he said. So we said, well, we don't know. Nobody knew the answer. So pass exams? No. It's important, but no, not the right answer. So we were lost. He said, the most important thing is you got to have fun. Because if you don't have fun, you won't learn properly. So having fun while you learn makes you learn more efficiently. And that is so important. And that lesson has come through to my life. And if you think back to school days, right? You think about your school, your classmates and your schoolmates of your year. You all went to the same school, you had the same teachers. Why is the outcome in their lives so different to each other? So I like to think, I think hopefully I'm fairly successful. It's not for me to brag, but I can see there are lots of us, and I went to the top school. There are lots of us who have lost their way after they left school. They've lost their way. They haven't learned the lessons from school. The lessons they learned in school have gone from one ear and out the other ear. They haven't practiced it. And this is what, in my martial arts, my teacher always said, he reminded me, there are three types. There are three types of student. The wise student, when he hears of the Tao, which is the way, when he hears of the Tao, goes and practices it diligently. The average student, when he hears of the Tao, he thinks about it now and again. And the foolish student, when he hears of the Tao, he laughs, for if he didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the Tao. So bear that in mind. What kind of student are you going to be? Are you going to be the wise student, the average student, or the foolish student? Right? Hopefully, you'll be the wise student. The more wise students we have, the better. Thank you.